Hi, friends. So Whitney Webb, the journalist and author, she said that Jeffrey Epstein was or is, I don't know if he's really dead, who knows, but was much more than just the extortion of politicians and very wealthy clients, and journalists and whomever else that he could get into his web. Uh, and that is that he was involved in weapons trafficking, if that's the word, and other aspects. So they were probably more of his thing, but definitely, of course, he was a pedophile, and therefore that was one of the things that he is most known for. And I don't know if you've had them, so I'm just going to focus on these Jeffrey Epstein files that were released. Um, they're I don't know exactly how much of it has been released. I don't know if things have been deleted. Who knows? I mean, we're living in a post-truth world now, so who knows exactly what is happening what is real, what is not real. Um, Say if we assume that what was released just recently, today's the 1st of February 2026, some horrific, like really horrific things that Donald J. Trump has been involved in, Bill Clinton, Elon Musk, but they focused on Donald Trump. And I won't go into it here because it's really stomach churning. You'll have to look it up yourself. But just unbelievable. Well, I have to be honest and say it was so bad that I was sort of thinking, some of this, is it real? Like, is this actually real? Or are they trying to really, hoist Donald Trump up on a crane and sort of, you know what I mean? I don't see how it's possible for someone to continue on working anywhere, let alone as a U.S. president, with that kind of sort of straight up pedophilia extreme. I don't see how he could continue on. But I bet you, just like Bill Clinton is still wandering around free, they all look after one another, but even if they don't like each other. All these elites all look after each other, and billionaires, etc. So I'd be surprised if anybody suffers any consequences. But I mean, if and Donald Trump, of course, just like any other U.S. president, has done so much that's bad, so many crimes, and so it's sort of like, it's hard to believe that anybody could continue on doing any sort of job without being arrested. But there you go. We're in this dystopian world where people are doing absolutely outrageous things. If indeed some of these files are true, that's the issue. You sort of have to wonder what if some of them aren't true, some of these outrageous things are not true, then what is the unelected government trying to do with Donald Trump? Because that also means too that Israel has no leverage. I don't see how you could possibly come back from the sort of things that have been put out there now. I can't. It's hard to imagine anything worse than what's come out just in the last day or so. So, what kind of leverage does Israel have and Netanyahu have over Donald Trump after these very recent email releases? And I've noticed, as I'm sure you probably have, that just before, if Donald Trump is maybe erring on, I don't know what to do about, Iran, or I don't know what to do about this and that, suddenly there'll be this drop of more files. Well, just before Iran, this Ahmad is going to Iran, and it looks like they're going to, bomb Iran. It suddenly, there's all these drops of really awful files. Well, where is the leverage now? If, say, he decided, I'm not going to do that. Not that I think he really needs any encouragement to actually go ahead and do anything. I mean, he doesn't seem to have any sort of moral center at all. Even Jeffrey Epstein, who's just... I've got this image of him, literally there's a video of him, Jeffrey Epstein, jumping around, jumping. There's these toddlers in his apartment, and he's sort of running around the table playing with them. And I'm thinking, where are these toddlers and babies coming from? I can kind of guess, but it's just like, it's so crazy. Anyway, I'm just thinking, if Donald Trump decided to pull out of this whole Iran thing, which, he can do, he just changes his mind every other day, and he does like doing this brinkmanship thing that he thinks is part of his art of the deal, which is ridiculous. You know, what, where is the leverage, for this anymore? So, I don't know. I find this all very bizarre. If it's true, then how can he possibly still be in office? I mean, he's done so many things already were illegal, and and war crimes, international war crimes, including supporting, financially, etc. A genocide which is still going on. There's a whole list of things that he's done, lining his pockets basically with crypto scams, and his own crypto scam. Is just a long list of things and Jared Kushner and Witkoff helping him out with his property, his personal business finances. This is our little guy. Anyway, he might show his he might show his bottom to you shortly. Anyway, whoops, there he goes. He's completely using the presidency in the open to line his pockets. All the others have lined their pockets too, but this is the most overt so far. He doesn't care if we know it or not. So it's become a fascist shit show, and which I used to talk about a few years ago, toward the end of his last presidency, saying, it was heading into complete fascism at that stage. I remember Michael Reinold, when he was bragging about sending some police around to basically assassinate him, and he was bragging in his many campaign sort of speeches. He was saying how he told them to go around there and it was all finished in 15 minutes. That was he was bragging about another extrajudicial killing, which of course all these drone strikes are extrajudicial killings. There's thousands and thousands of them. Anyway, it's so bizarre. So Iran tomorrow could be being bombed, and that could be disastrous in lots of ways. It could be the end of Israel, and I think you could probably know what I'd be thinking about that. I think that Israel is in such a, like if 75% of the people there have thought that Netanyahu wasn't doing enough at one point in this genocide, it's a deeply sick society, deeply sick. Zionism is terrorism, basically, and the indoctrination that many Israelis have received since birth has led them to become a deeply sick and violent society that doesn't matter where they go. And by the way, have a look into what's happening in Patagonia in southern Argentina. The IDF is in southern Argentina and Patagonia, and basically terrorizing Argentinians in that area, particularly the indigenous people, and is basically colonizing in Patagonia now. I mean, they've got their eye on starting, this is almost like the Greater Israel Project, but in southern Argentina. And of course, that demented president they have there, who's looks like a sort of wannabe Elvis impersonator with a drug problem. He's basically, I think, fine with it. So that's what's going on in Argentina. So this sort of settlers colonization, this colonizer mindset is being taken around the world, and that's one of the places. So I feel very sorry and sad for Patagonians and the indigenous people to have to deal with the viciousness and the this such aggression that Zionists show. It's totally crazy. It really is the way Zionists behave, the aggression and the arrogance. So anyway, I feel like a lot of Israelis, most of the population, need re-education, basically, because they're you can say they're victims of their own propaganda. They're victims of an indoctrination against the indigenous people, Palestinians, where they see them as less than completely, like they see them as garbage and trash. And as a vegan, of course, it's interesting to me that people will say, yes, they see Palestinians as animals. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? When if we are victimizing a vulnerable group, which non-human animals are, then that doesn't stay there. It ends up being something that comes around to humans, and then that's really what's happening. A lot of what we do to non-human animals when we're not vegan, what others do for us, is exactly what they've been doing to Palestinians. So that's something that we can keep in mind. But I digress. Anyway, so I hope this doesn't make you dizzy. I'm actually sitting on a swinging chair in the garden. So anyway, I suppose I'll just leave it here. That's just something I wanted to put out about the Epstein files, and just wondering where the leverage is now. But maybe there isn't no need for that anymore. I think Donald Trump probably knows that if he doesn't get these things done before the midterms, which I don't even think there's going to be elections, then he's probably going to bring in martial law. He's probably going to start the war, then say you can't have elections during a war, and then in 2028 he'll probably do some other thing to make sure there are no elections in future. So, there's all that to look forward to. Oh, yay. And so anyway, I think he's trying to get all these things done and also line his pockets as much as possible, because he knows after the midterms, if there actually is elections, that he's not going to be doing so well. He won't be able to do the kind of things that he wants to do after that. And also, that's probably why he started this dystopian board of peace, because he's placed himself as the forever head of it, where people have to pay $1 billion to get into it. It's a pay to play, and I mentioned that in my last video. And he's got all his designs for what he wants for this seaside resort and everything, and golf courses and whatever else, as if they're going to be able to get away with that, with Hamas still there underground, and they have no intentions of allowing that to happen. So that will be fun for anybody who thinks they are going to have any sort of peaceful time in this resort constructed on the bones of 680,000 or more Palestinians, over half children and babies. It's astonishing and so sad. So anyway, I don't think that's going to be successful. And by the way, there's something else that's happening which isn't really covered much in at all, really, in alternate media, and that is that they're waiting for the powers that be and the elite and the Wall Street, etc., are waiting for a black swan event, a catastrophic black swan event, to introduce a digital CBDC, a central bank digital currency, which can be programmable. And that means that they can, if you're not doing what they want you to do, or if you're thinking about donating to a cause that is against their imperialist capitalist aims, they can sort of pause your money, or they can also make it where it has a limit, basically an expiry limit. And that's what they're intending to bring in after this black swan event, which could be a dreadful war on Iran, where the Straits of Hormuz is stopped, and there's oil becomes very, very difficult to get. And this is all about China, of course, making oil impossible to get from from Venezuela, from Iran, from various sources, to try and this is all inevitably about the coming war on China. So, but anyway, the CBDCs and also the digital ID, and stable coins are a part of that. Stable coins, the digital assets too, they will also be a part of that, where it all goes through the Treasury, and it's made programmable. So there will be probably no cash in certain places. So we would all have to use the CBDC. Now, this is not financial advice, but I would look into XRP if I were you. That's a digital asset. It's I personally feel, and please, nothing I'm saying is financial advice, but I personally feel like, even though it's a banker's digital asset, that probably makes it safer in a way to actually obtain. And if you look into it, it is going to be the rails of the new financial system. They've been working on that for over a decade. It was created around the same time as Bitcoin. It was created by the same people. It was also mentioned in the Epstein files. Somebody was saying to Epstein that they thought that XRP and XLM, that's the sister coin, XLM, Stellar, that they said that it was going to pose a problem for Bitcoin because people would be putting money into that and money into Bitcoin, and and they didn't want that to be the case. Epstein also funded Bitcoin about $800,000 or $1 million or something because it was having a bit of a problem in around 2011 or something like that. It was created in 2009, just after the financial crash in 2008. So think about that. There was a big global financial crisis, and then just straight after that, Bitcoin was created. And it looks very much like it was created by the NSA. And then it was, I'm actually sort of seeing that Jeffrey Epstein was possibly using Bitcoin because it was hard to track who was paying what, etc. On the even though you can see transactions on the blockchain, but you don't really know who they are. And I think possibly that could have been used for these these basically services that he was supplying with these young children and teens, etc. So I sort of strongly feel like Bitcoin was actually something Epstein was involved in, so that clients who wanted to use his pedophile services could not be identified easily and couldn't be tracked, or rather couldn't be identified. So that's something to think about. I was interested in Bitcoin in the beginning a couple of years ago, and then I did research into various things, and I decided the way to circumvent some of this programmable money is to follow the money and get into assets which the capitalist class are interested in. It's like a follow the money thing. Now, for someone who's I hate capitalism. I want it to end, but at the same time, I also want to survive, and I hope to, if XRP does what I think it's going to do, being the rails of the new financial system, and there's so many banks monetary fund and all of that involved, that I feel like it could actually do very well. I might be wrong, but I think when I say very well, I'm talking very well, like 3 or 4 digits or more. There's basically no ceiling because it's supposed to be carrying trillions of dollars on the rails, and XRP has to be a high price to be able to carry to be able to carry these assets, to be able to carry the banks and institutions, the billions and trillions of dollars basically that they have, sort of flowing on these assets. So it literally mathematically has to be a high price. And it's been indicated, that it could be, 5 digits, right? It could end up end up going to zero. Who knows? But that's probably it's a very strong case for something that is that basically. I've done a lot of research, and I've seen so much of institutional involvement in it and what it's supposed to do in the new digital financial system that I think that's probably correct. So none of this is financial advice. You do your own research. You can check out Vandel, Al-Jara, Versan. I don't endorse all their opinions. Some of them are wacky, but when it comes to this sort of financial asset, they actually have done a lot of research themselves. So anyway, that's something to think about, to try and maybe help oneself not be beholden to a programmable digital central bank digital currency or a stable coin, which is what they're going to try and force us into, so that they have even more control of money and even control of movement, where they're trying to sort of make basically a kill switch in every EV so that they can actually remotely turn off people's cars. Anyway, it's very dystopian, and and the surveillance is off the charts. Next thing, they'll be wanting people's colonoscopy scans, and I mean, it's how much surveillance do they need? But obviously, there's no limit. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. You can contact me if you're on Upscrolled. Please go to Upscrolled, because this is where I'm posting these commentary, because I can use words openly without speaking in code. At this point anyway, I don't know how it's going to be in the future if someone buys it out, which usually happens, but I don't have to speak in code, which is a relief. And also, I wanted to keep in touch with people. I haven't done any commentary for a while because it's just sort of like too stupid it becomes too stupid, the surveillance and the censorship, and I've been doing more local type activism and things like that. Anyway, so I'll talk to you soon. This went way too long. I'm sorry about that. I don't really feel like breaking it up because it all kind of connects to itself. And I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. You're watching Faint Signals from Vegan. My name is Trish Rose, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.